We have made this type of console and the basic box, and in this video we'll make a more advanced console box which has two angles on the top surface. So again, if we look inside the freeform profile housing script, I will just go with the default settings for the typical console. So if you want to follow this, you could uncomment the settings for the typical console and just execute the script and see what happens. So let's take a look at what happened, and we now have a number of scripts created here. It looks like this from the side. So if you want to study it, you can see what we are about to expect and have milled. So that would be like looking at this one from the side, but where you can see there are some more bends all the way around, and housing profiles and housing brackets to keep it together. By the way, I'm sorry, I sometimes say housing profile when I mean a housing bracket. I'm confusing that a little bit, and sometimes being tired when I'm making these videos, it doesn't help either really. But to focus on the console, we will have these 6 pieces of metal milled from Schäfer and putting it together. So watch while and enjoy the assembly phase that we are now gonna fast forward through. When you watch the creation of this, first of all, the bottom plate was not made as intelligently as I did this one, because if you remember the video for this one, the bottom plate doesn't extend into the groove, so it means that on this one we can actually take it out like that. But on this one, the bottom plate also slips into the assembly groove of the sides. That's one thing. Another thing is that this particular housing bracket here on the front panel was mounted on top of a stud instead of having a screw hole like that. And that's what I typically do for a surface like this one, which is facing the user. And if we look at the files that came out on the computer, you will see that this is indeed the case. If you look at the top panel, you see there is a housing bracket which is mounted on a stud, while if you look at some of the other sides, you'll see there is only a countersunk hole for a 3mm screw on that side. But other than that, this box is also special in that I'm using a housing profile here, while we have housing brackets. We use housing profiles for these two 90-degree angles. It has to be 90-degree angles to use a housing profile, while I'm using arbitrary angles for the bend here, the bend on the back, and actually the angle is not exactly 90 degrees here either. So I think this really shows the best of all worlds, because the housing profiles are really cool for also visually for these edges, while the small angle bends like here and over here on the back side helps to deliver a lot of flexibility to a case like this one. Here on this picture you can see the housing profile and the 90-degree angle bend and how it's bending here, and of course it's also bending here. And as I said, this one is not 90 degrees either. Okay, so the cutouts I made here is basically because there would usually be such cutouts. If this was, for instance, a display with some encoders and some buttons you could press, this is how it would look. This is what you would need to mount in order to do that. Yeah. In this series, we end up with a video where we show how you can take a PCB made in Eagle, a printed circuit board, and how you can make cutouts like these for a controller using a tool that we also developed and put online for the public to use.